The kudzu bug is a relatively new invasive species from Asia. It was first discovered in Georgia in 2009. It has rapidly spread and now covers several states east of the Mississippi, from Virginia to Florida. It has become a major pest species in soybeans, and its population has continued to increase and spread with each consecutive year. The kudzu bug is about 1/4 of an inch long and almost square in shape. The adult kudzu bug is olive green with brown speckles, while the nymph is a pale green and appears hairy, which makes it very easy to overlook on a soybean stem. It can generally have 2 or more generations per year and takes about 6 to 8 weeks from egg to adulthood. When temperatures warm in the spring, the adults will emerge from their overwintering locations and begin feeding, mating, and laying eggs. They are very reliant on the kudzu plant and other legume species for food sources early on in the year. They tend to migrate to soybean fields when they become available. The adult and nymphs feed on the plant by piercing the stems. They suck the sap out of the plant and show similar effects to drought stress. The average yield loss is around 20%, but studies have shown up to 47% in severe circumstances. The population size of the pest and other stresses will determine the yield loss. Scouting is very important in minimizing the effect of the kudzu bug. Studies have shown that the first wave of adults in soybeans is normally seen in mid-May. The first spike of nymphs is shortly followed around June. The second wave of adults, roughly 8 weeks later, is in July, followed by the second peak of nymphs in August. When scouting, nymphs are normally the deciding factor. The threshold is 1 nymph per sweep of a 15-inch sweep net. It is recommended to take 15 to 20 sweeps per sample and to take several samples throughout the field. Populations tend to start and be heavily concentrated around field borders, so it is important to get a good estimate of the entire field and not just around the field borders to prevent overestimating the population. The nymphs tend to appear around the R2 to R3 stage, and they are most active during midday. It is important to sweep deep into the canopy because the nymphs tend to be concentrated on the lower half of the plants. It is also important to continue scouting after treatment to keep track of the second flush. At this point, the most effective way to treat the kudzu bug is to apply an insecticide. Scouting is important, and an insecticide should only be applied when the threshold is met. It is also important to select an insecticide with the least impact on beneficials. There is some research being done on a parasitic wasp. This wasp is native to Asia and has been introduced into Georgia. It has been found in South Carolina and is expected to reach North Carolina very soon. Studies have shown that earlier planted soybeans tend to be the most affected by the kudzu bug. This is thought to be true because the first beans to be planted are the first available and therefore are where the kudzu bug will migrate to early in the season and will typically remain there throughout the season. There is some thought that double crop beans behind wheat are less impacted because the wheat stubble, when it is cut high, provides a protection against the kudzu bug. It is not known if the later planting date or the stubble is the biggest factor. In some cases, it may be beneficial to eliminate some overwintering and early food sources, such as kudzu, mimosa tree, or wisteria. This is often difficult and only partially effective because the pest can overwinter and feed on such a large variety of hosts. The kudzu bug is also an excellent flyer, which means it is difficult to eliminate all hosts within its range.